online, you said you're only just getting started with this. How long have you been doing it so far? And were you doing DeFi stuff on another coin previously, or is Smart BCH your first experience with that?
Hey Hayden, actually long-term fan of your work, brother. That's the first time I've ever speaking to you.
Thanks, dude.
I messed around farming something off Ethereum and MetaMask before, BAO, but nothing like super serious. Just dabbling in DeFi networks. But I've been, for years now, just very interested in the Bitcoin Cash network, and I don't know. I mean, every other platform, I never really wanted, felt the same urge to embrace it. And don't get me wrong, there's some good coins out there. I know people that did good with Uniswap, farming over there. But the Smart BCH is like my first real time, like moving like some real money over there. But I did watch your tutorial and Vlad's too. They were all very helpful, and just trying to get more comfortable with the space before, I go out and, push it to, not really push it, but just make more people aware of it.
Exactly. That's the way to go. I've been pretty slack lately with the videos because it was like Christmas holidays, but hopefully another one will be coming out tonight, and then another one by the end of the week. So we'll see. And then, there's plenty of videos on this subject matter that I've already planned out. So there's certainly no shortage of content.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's, it's tropical and mist right now. Are those the two main platforms where people are farming?
Tango is getting some traction. I don't think it's like as big, but you should look into Block NG. That's with the Lav Punks. That one's a pretty big one. It's not like a DEX, but it is like a place where like a lot of people are like staking their NFTs and then creating other forms of passive income on the platform, and it's offering some pretty good APRs.
Yes, Block NG is, in my opinion, probably the top Smart BCH project at the moment.
And I like their token too. Like I feel like it's going to be, a quick 10x within a year. So you're also farming you're pretty much minting tokens, and you're going to 10x the value if everything continues to go the way it's going. I mean, the project is so like new and so different, and it has so much to offer. So with its growth, it's not only are you getting free tokens, but you're also going to end up multiplying them exponentially in the future.
Well, the attractive part about it is that you can actually do a lot of things with the token. It has a lot of utility, and that's something that other competitors don't really have. It's not just like a token that has no purpose. Like, there's so many different things you can do, seriously, whether that is just farming or buying punks with it. You get like a discount, and then the punks can basically farm when you stake them, and you earn more of the token. So yeah.
And you can upgrade your punks too. Like I was just talking to Dino a couple of days ago, and I pulled one out from staking because I couldn't find out how to upgrade it. But I found out you can only do that once you unstake it, and then you can pretty much just take LOD token and you upgrade your the hash rate on your NFT, which ultimately creates more yield, and you get more LOD tokens.
And people should upgrade their punks to like level 3 because it's more economical with your farming. You'll make more in the long run when farming with your punk if it's level 3, and it's worth that investment instead of just leaving it at level 0. So I think it only costs like a few hundred lore, maybe less than 400 lore. I'm not entirely sure.
Dino, welcome to the chat. Let's see if he hears it. What's going on, man? No worries. But I was going to add to that. It was like, Hayden, what do you think? What would your floor prediction be for the Lav Punks like a year from now?
I'm actually pretty surprised at how it has grown, even since I started dabbling in Smart BCH in like late November or mid-November. And yeah, it's at least doubled since then. I haven't been looking the last few days. It's I think when I got involved, it was maybe 0.2 or 0.25 BCH.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my laptop in front of me right now. The floor is 0.65 right now. Yeah, when I first heard of Block NG, I picked up 3 quickly for 0.3, I believe, each, and now the floor is doubled, actually more than doubled. So it is gaining traction quickly.
Well, I kind of made a mistake at the beginning. I didn't really buy any punks when I first came onto the scene. I was buying just lore, and I kind of regretted that afterwards. But a lore's still gone up as well, so it's all good. But I did have to come back in later and try and get some punks at a higher price, which kind of sucked.
Yeah, I believe, Dino, you got into the Lav Punks really early, right?
Yeah, they were. I don't think he was there at the stage when they were being minted, but he came shortly after that, and he was buying them, and he really showed the market that these things had value, and then it encouraged more people to start buying them. But he bought, I think it was the CZ one or one of the other special ones for like 6 BCH or something like that, and people were like, "Holy crap!"
6 BCH from Kane, and during that time I didn't really know too much about NFTs yet. I was still very new to the DeFi space. So, like I said before, like in previous AMAs, Kane approached me about these Lav Punks, and I started looking at other chains, because I know that Punks is not just unique to BCH. I started on Ethereum, obviously, and then I know Solana and Matic also had them. So I tried to compare, how they were doing on these other blockchains, and I saw that they were doing really well, and that even the ones on Solana and Matic were just complete clones of Ethereum. They had nothing else new, though. They were just offering, cheaper punks on their chains, right? Because you don't have to pay the $150 gas fees that you would on Ethereum. So they're like, oh yeah, don't pay the $150 gas fees. Come to our chain. And then BCH came out, and they came out with the Lav Punks, and they made it even more unique. They were like, here, we're gonna add staking. You can power them up. We're gonna add new species and stuff. And so I took a gamble and I bought it for 6 BCH, and it was one of the best things I ever did, because after that, just a week later, that 3,600 turned into, 35 BCH. It was 6 BCH to 35 in just a week, and now it's on the marketplace for 300 BCH. So, think about the rise in that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think just adding that extra value is really good in terms of an NFT project that's early in the Smart BCH now, where I'd like to, to just throw out a project and be like, okay, yeah, here's another generic punks project, like you just said, just enjoy it. Like, it doesn't offer anything special like Solana. Like, that's, who would invest in that? But then when you add the staking capabilities with a token that's, just in the beginning of where it's gonna, end up ultimately, I think it's amazing.
Well, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, who would invest in that? So I was like, all right, let's go check who would invest in that. Like, how are the Solana punks doing then? And when I looked at the Solana punks and saw that the floor was like $4,000, or I think it was maybe $6,000 at the time. And they told me, I was on their chat, and they were telling me like, oh yeah, the floor was actually 13,000. It just dropped right now to like $4,000 a floor. And I'm over there. I looked at the Smart BCH punks, right? I looked over there, and I saw that the floor was $6. And I'm like, okay, $6 to $4,000. The Solana punks has nothing new to offer. I went straight to Kane. I'm like, $3,600 for your punk, no problem. Give it to me. I'll take this most special one.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a way better move, because ultimately, what do they have to offer, and how long is that floor place going to retain on Solana ultimately? Like, when you're literally producing nothing, like you have nothing special to offer with your project? Will it retain that value? And do you know right now what the floor price is for those on Solana?
Yeah, I believe it's about. Oh wait, I have to check, but I know it's on SolanaArt.io. Perhaps it's like 6 Sol, but the price of Sol has been going down. So yeah, their floor price actually went down significantly, but that's also because they have nothing new to offer. And what I thought was really significant was that when I was looking through the Sol Punks, right, the one thing that they were talking in their Discord and their Telegram group was that they didn't have a bidding feature, right? So they couldn't bid on punks. And they were like looking forward to this innovative new bidding feature that was coming to their marketplace. And I'm just like, okay, punks our Smart BCH punks just came out like a week ago, and we already have bidding. We have way more innovation for our punks than these Solana guys, and our floor is at $6 compared to $4,000 or whatever it was. And I asked, like, what is your most expensive punk on Solana that's sold? And they were like, oh yeah, the highest sale was $720,000 for our most special. So I went straight to Kane. I was like, yeah, you have the most special one right there? Okay, yeah, 3,600 is fine.
Yeah, I'm looking at their floor price right now. I just pulled it up. It's literally 4.99, so call it 5. So it's about like $670 floor price right now for these punks. And they live
significantly, yeah.
They're I mean, definitely not surprised there, but it's actually crazy that they're pretty much mostly like they look the same, like if not like the art is the exact same, but it just doesn't have anything to offer. I mean, who would have predicted? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're throwing out a blank project. What do you have to offer? Why wouldn't your floor price go down? But then again, also the market's seeing a dip right now too, so I'm sure that has some sort of effect on all prices as well. Right now. What are your predictions for Lav Punks a year from now?
He thinks it's going to be $1 billion market cap soon.
You know, I think there's potential. I think we can at least get to, if we're being really conservative, we can get to like 100 million, 200 million market cap. And also, I mean, the market cap that we see on the on marketcap.cash is not even really the market cap, because it's basing it off of 21 million coins minted. There's only about 8 million law in circulation right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do think that law still has a ways to go, and the potential is definitely there. And I think that as more people find Smart BCH, law being our one of our best projects on the network right now, I think it has definitely good potential there.
Can you explain the dungeon section from Block NG?
Yeah, no problem. All right, so they did release a dungeon section, and the dungeon section was meant to encourage people to use law to upgrade their punks, because the incentive to upgrade was not there in the beginning, or too much. So they basically said, yeah, okay, you can upgrade using the dungeon, and it's technically a little cheaper if you use the dungeon, because there are these 4 things you can get. So obviously you can hit the jackpot. There's a 5% chance of hitting the jackpot. And if you do that, the payout is around, I think right now it's about 1,200 law, which is actually pretty significant now, because the law price is really high. So 1,200 law is like 3 BCH, is really good. And you have a 5% chance of hitting that. And if you are to hit the jackpot, that basically gives you 12 free rolls in the dungeon. And so you could keep rolling in the dungeon and try to get this other ability, which increases the level of your punk. So instead of paying, like 1,000 law, or let's say people who have really high level punks, they might require like 10,000 law to upgrade their punk 1 level. And obviously that's too much money. So what you would do is you would go to the dungeon, pay 100 law, and you have a 10% chance of your punk going up 1 level. And so, the dungeon is a cheaper way to upgrade your punk if you have really high level punks. Okay, it's also law ETP though, because there's 2 other abilities The other ones print law ETP, which are going to be used on the next update that law puts out, which basically allows you to collateralize your punks. So you can put up your punk as collateral. You'll get back law USD, which is pegged to the dollar, based on 1/7 of your punk's power. And then you can farm your law USD with Flex USD. So it's a really safe pool because it's a dollar pegged to a dollar. And the APR should be really high since you're taking the risk of collateralizing your punk in order to get this law USD.
When are they planning to release that update?
You know, the timings is the only thing that we don't know. They didn't give us a time on when it's going to be released. They just said that, you know, probably end of January. Perhaps I think that was maybe their time frame, but we don't know exactly. We just know that it's coming soon. It's the next update is coming up, and they already released the paper on giving all the information on the next update.
I think it's going to be like a popular thing across a lot of the dexes too. I think like putting up collateral for lending and stuff. I know you've got Hayden. You've probably heard of this too. I know you've definitely heard of that. Does anyone want to speak more on that? Like I believe like MissSwap's going to be launching something like that relatively soon too. I don't know. Again, the dates are all very iffy for sure. But does anyone else want to touch up on that?
Yeah, they're launching. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go, Hayden.
I was just going to say, yeah, I know that Mist is releasing their Mist Lend functionality in the near future, and Blake seems to know a fair bit about what's going on there because he was explaining it to me. So,
yeah, I was just wondering, with like the price of crypto ultimately down, do you think that's going to make the developers want to move faster with things on all these projects across all these protocols, because like gas is essentially lower throughout the whole ecosystem of starting from Bitcoin going down? So you think that's going to incentivize developers to push stuff out faster, and we might see a little boom in the next coming months?
I think they're definitely hurrying, like in terms of like how fast they can get everything done. Because I mean, I think just in general, like the Shawgate update, like the decentralized bridge, I think they probably are incentivized to get as much done as they can before that happens, because then you can bring massive loads of traffic over to Smart BCH. So, I mean, I think the low prices definitely would probably.
Could you go into Shawgate a little more? I know I don't know it fully, and there's definitely more people in the audience. Could you just explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, essentially, the only way to get your regular BCH over to the Smart Bitcoin Cash network is to bridge it, and all the bridges right now are centralized, meaning you have to give custody of your Bitcoin Cash over to another party, and then they transfer it over to the Smart Bitcoin Cash network. Now, one thing with people in the U.S., you can only use CoinFlex, which what a lot of people thought is you can only use CoinFlex, so people in the U.S. without using a VPN can't transfer it very quickly. But then other options came out like Prompt.cash and Hop.cash, and these are great platforms. But, again, you're giving up your assets to a centralized party right now. And that's what's freaking a lot of people out, because if you're going to be transferring over, say, in some cases, 100 BCH, 1,000 BCH, there's some whales who want to, jump into this network. But, what if is the underlying question. So what Shawgate is going to be essentially is a decentralized bridge. Like you can look up like different, there's a whole bunch of different ones for different networks, like different decentralized bridges. I believe like AnySwap is a good example of that. If you want to switch like between Avalanche and Ethereum, something like that, where it's fully decentralized and no one has custody of your cryptocurrency. Now, that's what's going to attract a lot of people, I believe, because when you're playing with big money and big amounts of crypto, you don't even want to take the small chance. So once Shawgate happens, you're opening that door to confidently sending over, millions if you want to. And again, it's only fractions of a penny compared to like all these other networks out there.
And to touch on that point, it's not even that there's many centralized bridges on Smart BCH. It's just one centralized bridge. We only have CoinFlex. These other parties like Hop.cash, I don't know what else we have, the BCHCC, the bridges, they all have to get their BCH, their Smart BCH through CoinFlex. basically it's all done through CoinFlex. So if CoinFlex goes down, there is no way out of Smart BCH. You'll go through Hop.cash. It only has like 500 BCH. First people to take those 500 BCH, those are the people who get out. CoinFlex is the center of failure on Smart BCH. If that bridge goes down, there is no way out. So that's why, big money is really scared of getting onto Smart BCH before the decentralized bridge is out in May. And that decentralized bridge is really going to be the catalyst that brings real confidence to investors, big and small. And a lot of BCH investors, a lot of people who hold BCH, they know of Smart BCH, and they're like, no, you know what? It's okay if I'm not here early. I'm going to wait till May. I'm going to wait for that decentralized bridge. And then I can fully, I can go into Smart BCH with full confidence that we have the decentralized bridge. My money is safe. I can come in and out as I please whenever. And there's no one point of failure, which is CoinFlex.
Thank you for that. I didn't know that little part of it. That's really good knowledge for everyone here. I actually did not even know that. That's awesome to understand that. I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense for sure. That's big. That's big. The fact that if that one exchange breaks down, then, you pretty much ultimately have no way of getting out. So that is a big trust factor, and it would definitely deter a lot of investors for sure. Gerald, did that explain pretty well to you about what the whole entire bridging process is and what Shawgate is?
Thank you for that.
Well, adding that Dino or Dino, what do you prefer?
Honestly, people call me both. It doesn't matter.
Okay. I mean, do you think? I mean, obviously that's deterring some capital, but I mean, just overall, you in the United States. I'm in the United States. I can't sign up for a CoinFlex account. It's the United States, North Korea, Cuba, and Iran can't get CoinFlex. It's an interesting company that we're
not
in.
without a VPN.
Right, right.
And VPN is kind of annoying, right? Not everyone wants to go through that. So, and especially if you're trying to convince, newcomers into Smart BCH that, hey, you also need a VPN just to get on. It is a deterrence, and I can understand that. I wouldn't want to tell someone hey, you need to do this first. You gotta get the VPN. They're gonna be like, why do I need a VPN? It's like, oh well, you're not allowed to do this in the US. It's technically not allowed. It's a lot better if we have the decentralized bridge, and they can just enter freely and they don't have to go through any VPN or any of that shenanigans.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. You go, Ryan. My fault.
Oh, no worries. I just wanted to add. I tweeted at Mark Lamb, the CEO, that when's it coming to the United States? And he says, and he just broadly said sooner than you think. So I also think whatever. I mean, obviously Shawgate's going to be, great, but also CoinFlex getting into the United States and. Even just allowing, from what I've heard, I haven't been able to experience it, but you can, use CoinFlex within your Bitcoin.com wallet. I think just overall for the whole network, CoinFlex is, they are a big central point of failure, but also their success could be good for the whole network.
100%. And with that being said, Ryan, you tweeting at the CEO and him mentioning that, another big thing people need to remember is that cryptocurrency is all one big ecosystem within itself. That's one bubble. There's real estate, there's Zip. So you need to realize that people are looking at other spots, and Smart BCH is looking at ETH and what they're doing and what the Bored Apes are doing. And they're also looking at Solana and Soluminati and what they're doing. And they're looking at Jack Dorsey and Bitcoin. So him saying faster than you expect, it could be a stealth launch, how Bored Ape did Mutant Ape Yacht Club. So you gotta be expecting that. So, and if you are on Twitter, turn their notifications on. You know what I'm saying? Be prepared for these shits to happen, and then to happen quick, because that's how the crypto space moves. And if you're lacking and slow, you're going to miss out and ultimately miss a 10x, a 5x that could potentially change your life and give you that financial freedom to start a business, start a YouTube, whatever the hell you want to do, get into a new DeFi project, start your own NFT. You just got to make sure you're on top of this shit and keeping your ears not just to Smart BCH, but everything, because crypto ultimately needs to be an interoperable system that we can all work together and expand. And you just have to be able to understand that, or you're going to be left behind.
Well, I like what you're saying. One thing I want to call out, though, about the bridge, just to kind of round out that topic, is you can be really honest with new users, right? Be like, hey, Smart BCH right now is brand new. It doesn't have as many users as some of these other networks and is in active development. And the decentralized bridge is coming with the upgrade in May. And so for early adopters that get in now and use Hop.cash or Prompt or one of these other temporary gateways, they're just getting in early. And they're accepting the risk of getting in early, but that's where a lot of the gains are. And we can be very honest about the status of the bridge and exactly what's going on and say, hey, here are the designs for the trustless bridge, and point them to some of the information about Shawgate. We can talk about Mark Lamb and some of the other projects he's invested in Smart BCH that are coming out in 2022. There's very little reason for him to mess up his business over a few months before the decentralized bridge comes out, because the opportunities for him financially are much better on the incentive side than any rug pull that he could do. So the truth is the economics are on our side, and the technology and all of the white papers for Shawgate are available for people to audit and see what is going to be available in May. I think that being honest is totally fine.
I think that's a great point. The fact that that some execution risk and centralized risk is there, but that's also the opportunity. And and I guess it's just trying to better understand what are the big incentivizing factors for people to move chains to Smart BCH, and is there enough there? Obviously, it's growing, but obviously everyone talks about the Ethereum fees and just what other chains people are moving around to. And Alon took a lot of way. And you guys were talking about, all these other, ways to upgrade your punks and do all these other things on Smart BCH that aren't available. That I don't really, a lot of people understand why go from Solana's chain to Smart BCH. If you guys could touch on that more, why Smart BCH over all these other DeFi platforms?
Oh, I've got some nice answers there, so I'm going to just jump in.
I can jump in after you, Josh. Seems like you've got the floor right now.
Sounds great. So the biggest benefit I see to Smart BCH is the separation of the monetary layer and the DeFi layer in an intelligent way that allows for the peer-to-peer cash options for Bitcoin Cash to remain completely unaffected by any volume that could happen on Smart BCH. So that means when merchants are looking at BCH as a payment option, they know that there aren't going to be high gas fees when their users are trying to pay on the faster payment network. They can leverage double spend proofs. They can have zero conf. They can have a really nice payment experience. Then those people that are grabbing BCH so that they can use it in the economy, which is what I'm focused on, they now have an investment vehicle. They have a way to move their BCH into the equivalent of the DeFi universe on a very liquid chain that is available everywhere for low fees, that operates with the same API as the biggest smart contract chain. So making it easy for application developers or NFT developers to be able to port their work and hit a user base that may be more cost sensitive, right? Some people want faster and cheaper, but they also want to make sure that their investment is locked into like reality and that there's real world use on that asset as well. So BCH brings that. It brings like actual peer-to-peer use, and then it gives people a way to get their APY and save extra missed tokens and all of the other gamification that can happen on Smart BCH. And that combination doesn't really exist anywhere else. If you're in Ethereum, you're going to have layer 2s and be able to bounce around between these different layer 2s on ETH. But when they're going back to the main chain, the fees are going to be high. And their roadmap, is taking a lot longer than they said it would to deliver any of the performance improvements they claimed. I mean, we're talking, many years in, and ETH2, I don't even see a reasonable ship date.
I appreciate that explanation, but Vlad, you wanted to add to that?
I think Josh did a great job, honestly. Pretty much anything I had to say, you kind of threw it out there. That was really well said, Josh. I definitely agree with that. But I think that, I guess to add to that, one thing I could say is that there's just so much more room for improvement in the Smart Bitcoin Cash network as there is opposed to like Solana or even like Avalanche at this point, where I think like the NFTs, like all of these projects right now are just so early and they're so low priced And if you're in it for profits, which a lot of the new investors are, I mean, you're coming into something like projects that are like at the bottom right now, at the very, very bottom, because there's a lot of distrust right now, and people aren't confident, like we were talking about earlier, aren't confident to put their money in there. But once they start doing that, it's obviously going to increase the value of tokens, NFTs. But not only do these NFTs, like we were talking about the punks earlier, like these NFTs are going to be offering other capabilities like staking, upgrading, all this fun stuff that, you don't see that on a lot of like the Solana projects, or at least the ones that we've talked about now and that I'm aware of. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but, it seems like there's a lot more utility in the projects that are on Smart Bitcoin Cash right now. So, and there, again, if you're in it for profits, that's one thing that I would look at, because, the room for a 10x, 100x is way bigger on Smart Bitcoin Cash right now than it would be on Solana, Avalanche.
Honestly, it's the same token as BCH. And BCH, right now, you look at the price, people are not really super excited about BCH price, to be honest, right? Compared to some of the other coins that have had appreciation. But what comes with that lower price, right now, there's a lot of underground development that I'm seeing with a lot of people that are planning to move large-scale projects from that ETH universe to Smart BCH, and are waiting to kind of put out more commercial projects that are larger scale until Shawgate's completed. So let's just paint a world where Shawgate works just fine, and all of a sudden there's no centralized bridge. It's decentralized. Anyone can use it. There's a bunch of ways to hop between the two chains. Smart BCH is performing admirably. It's fast. The software is stable. APIs are stable for all the app authors. You really think BCH price is going to be anywhere near $400 in that universe? There's no way that it should be that price at that universe. And I see that tangibly being able to happen by the end of 2022. That puts BCH price, let's just be really conservative, a couple grand, right? Bare minimum. If that universe actually gets realized, BCH price will have the appreciation that we think it needs. We've seen it at 1/10 of Bitcoin for long periods of its history. And now we're at 1/100th of Bitcoin, approximately. All of a sudden, that room for growth, that 10x room, is available on Bitcoin Cash if the execution is right, in a way that other coins aren't, because we got some price suppression that happened on our coin.
I 100% agree with that statement. That's very well put. And one thing that I find very funny, and we can segue this actually into a more topic of like high velocity. We're talking about Vitalik Buterin, like calling out Smart Bitcoin Cash on multiple occasions and trying to bring negative connotation to it, like as we're starting to get some light, as we're finally starting to get some sort of like good like word about like Smart Bitcoin Cash DeFi, then all of a sudden Vitalik comes out of the left field and starts bashing us. Like, is that coincidence? I think it's a sign that he's threatened. That's my personal opinion.
I would agree.
I wanted to ask, I was really curious. I was going to say that. I was going to ask your opinion. I know you've been there through like the block wars and Vitalik being a big blocker at a time, and all of a sudden, Bitcoin Cash is now a failure.
Yeah, I don't have anything against Vitalik, and I'm not sure what the inside baseball is there. But when I saw him make those comments, I thought instantly, this guy must be feeling threatened now, because we basically have Ethereum as a side chain, and it doesn't have any of the problems that they're experiencing there on Ethereum with extremely high fees. And we are opening ourselves up to more people to come and use the technology. Also, another major point is that outside of Smart BCH, just looking at Bitcoin Cash itself, people have been pointing out recently that while our price is extremely low, the actual volume of Bitcoin Cash that is being transacted every day is very high, and it's ranked number 4 overall out of all the cryptocurrencies, and it appears to be consistently staying in that level like every day. And looking at it right now, the 24-hour volume is 1/4 of Ethereum's 24-hour volume. So if I was Vitalik, I would be scared.
So Okay, I like to look at it from a slightly different lens, right? So I've talked to Vitalik. I just don't think that's the way that he thinks about things. I think his comments about Bitcoin Cash come from a place of the people in the community he knew from Bitcoin Cash. So it's not some dastardly pan. He's not afraid of Smart BCH. He was friends with Amari. He was friends with a lot of the people that left, man. So just practically, when he looks at Bitcoin Cash, he sees a team that split off to another project. He sees all the BSV nonsense. He sees a chain where he probably hasn't even looked into all the specifics of Smart BCH. He probably hasn't even looked at the mowing libraries. He's just saying like, yeah, for the most part, I look at it as kind of failed because it is 1/100th of Bitcoin right now. From his perspective in ETH, he's looking at as like layer 2s and ZK snarks and all of this other technology that he wants to build in ETH. And that's what he's focused on. He sees a giant ecosystem there. He's not afraid of anything. He just doesn't have all the information about Smart BCH because, dude, he just doesn't have the time to be looking into all of that. I don't believe in all the conspiracies. In all honesty, I think if you took a closer look at some of the tech, he'd be like, oh, wow, they're doing things a little different. This is kind of cool. And I don't think he said BCH is a failed project because of anything Smart BCH related. I think he looked at it just like from his perspective in the crypto universe and the ties he had to BCH in the beginning. Those aren't there anymore. He doesn't know the current dev team. He's probably not looking at Bitcoin research and the latest chips. He probably doesn't see the stuff that like Jason Dresner's been doing, right? Like there's a bunch of work happening in BCH that changed hands. And different research teams that have picked up different parts. And now it's a lot of different players, and he's just not as familiar with them.
That's a pretty logical explanation.
A great explanation. It's just like the irony and the timing of it, I guess, could lead to like, oh, well, possibly that. Because there certainly is reasons to say, Bitcoin Cash or all the forks.
It's New Year's, man. Yeah. He was busting out all his New Year's resolutions. There was like one comment in a 15-post tweet storm or something. Like, yeah, man.
I want to clear the water too. Like, I definitely want to clear the water that I wasn't bashing on Vitalik at all. Like, I think he's a genius. I think he's, a really smart young individual, and I've even put that on Noise Cash after my little rants on Twitter. But I think he's a genius. I think he's a great, smart guy. I just maybe I misinterpreted how those. I mean, Josh, I think it's a good lens to look through that way. In terms of why those were put out, because I think a lot of the Bitcoin Cash community took it the wrong way.
I think so too, because we've been hurt in the past by so many people, right? There have been people that have talked a lot of shit, right? Vitalik's one of the few that said nice things on a regular basis. And a lot of it is because he knew a lot of people on the ABC team. And so in those early days, he really did wish the best for us. I don't think he saw the problems with Bitcoin. He knew the issues he had trying to do anything innovative in on that original chain. And I think he really liked the idea that Bitcoin Cash could succeed. But honestly, the community's been its own enemy with some of the infighting that had happened in the past. And what's unfortunate is we did have a really rocky start with a lot of things that were going crazy. But now I see people collaborating and agreeing and working together more than I've ever seen on Bitcoin Cash. And that's why I think it has value. It's not because people didn't notice. I think that people didn't see all of the internal switching that happened and the development that has continued. And that's why, the market is the way that it is.
Wasn't Ethereum about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, looking to use BCH off-chain to help with their scaling issues? That never happened. He used it
as like an idea. So like merge mining isn't like a crazy idea. He was trying to figure out some way that he could do some type of commitment on another blockchain. And BCH was something he had thought about. And it's because he's willing, I look at Vitalik as someone who's really willing to do anything, right? He wants to think through these complex problems. Our community is a lot more pragmatic. Our community is not the Bitcoin Cash community. Yeah, there's cryptographers in our community. There are people that do a lot of the advanced work within the different dev teams. But that isn't a majority of our community. The majority of our community is in it for different reasons, and mainly for peer-to-peer cash and for sovereignty and for the practicality of day-to-day payments and for those types of solutions. We just think about problems differently.
And I appreciate all the input. Josh, it sounds like you've been in the Bitcoin Cash space for a while.
Literally since the beginning.
Yeah, same here.
Josh came into the last space. He's very well versed with the inner workings of Bitcoin Cash. He does a great job of explaining it. And Josh, yeah, thanks for coming in again. Anyway, and you always have like a lot of good knowledge to just throw out there. So appreciate you jumping in on this space.
Well, I actually came to surprise you guys. So a friend of mine is an artist that we've been working on a new series of NFTs for Smart BCH. So I'm trying to bring some new artists in so that we can get some unique, high-quality NFTs within Oasis and our ecosystem. You're going to see some news about them in the next few days, but that's actually why I jumped in. The rest of it was just interesting conversation.
Let me know about any projects. I'd be happy to invest. I actually, after we talked on the last Twitter space, I ended up picking up 7 puffers.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm proud.
So actually, like Corbin's helping us with some of the setup. So my friend had never done any NFTs before, and he showed me this awesome character book of all these awesome characters he had done. And I was like, dude, these are awesome. And then he told me he was too busy. He needed to go and drive Uber because he's been driving Uber for extra cash. And I was like, absolutely not. We're doing an NFT series for Smart BCH. We're going to do something really fun. And so, yeah, we're still like figuring out. We've generated a set that looks good at about 5,000, but we wanted to do a 10,000 set, and they're pretty close. So
awesome. Yeah, let me know about it. I'd be happy to pick up anything you put out.
Yeah, no, it's more for him, and he has a bunch of other characters. So then the whole idea is I want people to have tooling for general purpose NFTs. So what I mean by that is right now you have your Lav Punks. And your Lav Punks have stats and you can upgrade them and you can battle them. Dude, that stuff's all awesome. Now, what if you could take any NFT and link a metadata NFT that had all of your stats? Now you can battle puffers. Now you can battle Lav Punks. Now you can battle your daiquiri dudes. You can battle any NFT that you stack a stat card on. And then they start as 0-level characters for their stats. And they're completely tracked on another NFT that references your original NFT. Allows us to start doing some really fun metaverse type stuff with the NFTs.
Interesting. I feel like that would definitely be a little bit down the line as Smart Bitcoin Cash develops, but that would be really interesting to be able to integrate multiple different classes of NFTs.
Exactly. The sky's the limit. I mean, it's so early in Smart BCH's journey. People just don't. People need to think 2 years out and think about what could be developed at that time and what the value of the coin is at that moment, especially when there's only 21 million.
They just launched a new token. I saw it just caught my eye the other day on marketcap.cash. It's called Metador. I was doing a little bit of research into it. It looks like they're trying to like get into the metaverse a little bit. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but it looks like that's kind of where Smart Bitcoin Cash is pushing, because it's if you guys want to check it out, it's the number whoever wants to check it out on their spare time. It's the number 54 token on Smart or marketcap.cash. But yeah, I mean, it looks like they're already kind of going in that direction anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think that we can get a lot of artists to be able to post their work, because when you're looking at smaller artists, not everybody sells $250,000 NFTs. But we want a place where people can go and put really cool art and be able to survive and be able to build cool stuff for our chain. And this NFT boom is a huge opportunity for just like creative exploration. Did you guys get any of those Thrones characters? Those surprised me that they sold out so fast.
I did not. Dino, I kind of alternate between Dino and Dino. I'm sure he can tell you how much he picked up. And I think there's a funny story of how he got them.
Yeah, so, okay, yeah. I wasn't even going to get any of the queens because I didn't know if they were going to really take off. But they were also launching while I was going to be asleep. So I went to sleep and they were going to launch in an hour, so I was going to miss it. But I get a phone call from, one of my cousins. He's like, hey, wake up. You have to get these thrones. I think they're going to sell out. And I was like, please leave me alone. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I went back to sleep. He called me 5 minutes later. He's like, 5,000 of them are already sold in like 40 minutes. You have to get them now or you're never going to get them. So, okay, I get out of bed. I go onto the site and I buy like 105 queens roughly. And they ended up selling all completely in 3 hours, right? $250,000 worth of NFTs, right? Something like that.
I think they did 10K mint, and then they sold them at like, I think they were like 10 or 15 bucks.
Okay, $120,000 is what it was. So 300 BCH, $120,000 roughly. Yeah, it sold out in 3 hours, and I thought that was crazy because I expected it to go for at least like a week or two maybe to fully mint. But the demand was there, and I guess once I saw the demand was there and it was going to sell out, I was like, okay, well I got to get me some of these. And I was really fortunate enough to get like some of the really rare ones too. Like I got like a queen that was like 1 of 8 or something, and I only minted 3 BCH, and just for like the 1 queen, right? Someone offered me 5 BCH for it, and that's more than that's for 1 queen. I minted 106, and for 3 BCH.
That's nuts. Well, 5 BCH for those queens. It's just crazy. Everybody has different, value propositions around NFTs. They must really want their royal court.
They must really want the royal court, indeed. Yeah, and they're really looking forward to these kings also because they're going to be minted afterwards, and people who whoever ended up buying a queen in this initial sale, I think they get like first dibs at buying the kings when they come out later on. And then I think you can also have land along with your queens and your kings, and they're also implementing staking for the queens as well, which I didn't know, but I looked at the roadmap later on and I found out that there's also going to be staking for these. And I think there's also going to be like, I think if you have like a queen and a king, you can also like mint princesses and princes later on. I didn't actually look too closely into it, but I guess people got really excited about all this, and I guess it is kind of cool. And I guess I couldn't miss out, so I had to pick up some, and I'm glad I did because it is kind of a cool project, and I think it's good that people are coming up with these new NFT projects and being a little innovative, and I look forward to all the future projects that people come up with.
I look at it as us being able to fund their creativity and their imagination. They're able to do what they want with these character sets. This is the first time we're seeing kind of a lineage happening on Smart BCH. We haven't seen any regenerative NFTs yet, ones that like change just, it's like I've seen ones on ETH that change when you move them to a new user, right? So like the actual NFT art adjusts based off of the transaction history and other metadata about the NFT itself. Those are really cool ideas, but they take time to explore, and dev teams that want to explore Web3 and do this stuff. So we get to fund the creativity. They use that in development. They actually innovate in our space. They write smart contracts that we didn't have before and figure out ways to port things from other Web3 environments and or create all brand new on Smart BCH. It's a wonderful cycle.
It's really cool, I guess. A lot of people, they do end up messaging me on Telegrams. I get to see like all these people's ideas. I feel like they come to me because they feel like maybe I can like pass the information along to others. But I've been getting so many suggestions for like NFT collections. I know a lot of people have been messaging me for like the same thing. They want these horse racing. Apparently, I think Ethereum has them, right? They're like, oh, they can race horses. Like, when are we going to have these NFT collections? And like, maybe we can be different. Like, we don't have to do like horse racing. It can be like Lambo racing, right? And then we'll have like different skins for these Lambos, right? Like you have like the Bitcoin Cash skins on them, and we can like race our cars. Like they want these cool, innovative things with their NFTs, and I also think it's like a cool idea. I don't know how.
So the cars is a great idea. It's the same metadata idea I had. So if you had a car and you could put any NFT in the car and race it, it's the same idea, right? And these aren't actually that hard to code up. They're well within the bounds of what people could be doing today.
Yeah, and that's really cool to hear because so many people keep messaging me about like the same things. Like, when are we gonna have like games for NFTs, like things we can do? Like, I want to be able to race my NFT. Like, want to have these horse races. I want to have these Lambo races, and I think it's so cool that people come up with these ideas. And I just wish that we need the developers to be able to do it.
Check out. So this is not Smart BCH related, but you should check out Clementine's Nightmare. It's a NFT based game that's slowly being introduced right now, but that project's going to be really interesting to watch, because I think that this world of new NFT based, like straight mainstream games is right around the corner, and they're not going to really care about this blockchain or that blockchain. They're going to be thinking about it from the point of the user, and what I mean by that is, when you think of it based off of a blockchain, I want someone to adopt Smart BCH. You're assuming that Smart BCH is the only option for that user. Or same thing if it's ETH or AVAX or one particular chain. I think that it ultimately is up to content producers to be able to allow the export of their items to the networks that their users choose. So you're going to get this world of NFTs that get exported from games. And when they go to export their NFT, it'll ask them, what network do you want me to export this to? Because they want the user to be in control of that NFT, to be able to trade it on the marketplaces the user wants. And then when they want to use it in the game again, they're just going to redeem that back into the game. So this idea that, we have to think about it from one network, we need to think of it as an ecosystem. Ultimately, we want the users to find value in Smart BCH. And that means mainstream titles that allow for the NFTs to be exported to and maintained on that Smart BCH network, as well as other networks, because we compare favorably. Like, if someone goes and tries to export their stuff to ETH in a game, these aren't Ethereum fanatics, they're gamers. And it's gonna tell them it costs $50. They're gonna be like, fuck that. What's this other export? Smart BCH. That costs 5 cents. That seems to make a lot more sense. Do they have markets where I can trade my stuff? Is there a reason I need to pay $50 in fees? That's the user's choice. And that's where we shine, as like through actual utility of our network.
Kind of a unique question. Do you think there could be like a two-layer kind of thing with the NFT games, like where it's like say let's go to like the Lambo, like you're racing your NFTs in like Lambos, and then say like in the metaverse, like the crowd around you is like placing bets on the people that are racing. Do you think that would be possible to integrate?
All of those things are actually extremely easy to do. That is actually quite easy to do. That's what's nice about Solidity, is really the sky's the limit. And with the fees coming down, I believe the next upgrade of Smart BCH comes out during the hard fork upgrade in May, which will reduce the fees lower. Right now, we're paying like 3 cents or so, but they will be sub-cent after that upgrade. That's also another thing I don't think many people have talked about.
Yeah, I've been noticing the fees like being a little bit higher recently. I've seen the 3 cents like come up.
There's
more often.
One really nice thing about that property that people need to realize around the economics of these AMM systems. The lower our fee level, the more trading will happen from automated bots, because automated bots can take smaller returns with the fee levels when they're lower, which increases transaction volume for things that are not humans, right? It's just the trading bots will go nuts. So anytime you have this Turing complete layer and you have the fees at a very low rate, you're going to get spammed to death. Whatever the capacity of the network will get filled, because the fees will be so cheap, they'll arbitrage micro transactions and they'll make a fortune destroying our network. So it is important that the fee levels stay high enough that those bots can't trade at like sub-cent granularities. You want someone to have to trade in like within a few cents or 10 cents at least, because otherwise you're going to get really odd, distorted market dynamics. And that's actually what caused the ETH fees to eventually go up so high. A lot of that is automated.
Interesting. I didn't know about that. That's cool. That's really interesting.
Is that...
Well, you can think about it, right? So you have a bot and it's comparing prices, and it's going to compare, can I make money on this trade? And if it can make money on the trade, it can make money easier if the fees are lower, and it can make money on smaller trades that end up being very spammy on the network.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it just opens the door to a bunch of like scammers.
Wash trading bots and stuff that are like literally picking up 10 cents here, 10 cents there. And the volume of transactions all of us will have to handle on our nodes will be very high. So if you compare that world where, say, the fees were like a tenth of a cent, like BCH, regular BCH, the network won't sustain in that state long term with a large number of users. Realistically, because of the market dynamics of how these Turing complete contracts work. So you really do want a fee above a penny, in my opinion. I don't want it to be high, no $50 fees. A penny, right, is enough to really discourage a lot of that. And you're still going to get a lot of it, but at least put some kind of floor, which isn't just immediately going to get crushed by bots.
Yeah, it kind of turns out to be like if you give a mouse a cookie situation, like 3 cents is a lot better than what Ethereum is dealing with. Like, you know, we can't complain about 3 cents. That's still a godsend compared to what other networks are paying. But Ryan, I think you had something to say before.
I just wanted to ask, I know we talked earlier about the daily volume. Is that what's going, there's so much BCH moving every day. We're ranking top 4 in volume. Is it the AMMs, from CoinFlex? And is it wash trading, or where's all this volume coming from?
So here's the reality, right? If Smart BCH continues to take off, BCH volume will go up on exchanges because no exchanges actually have Smart BCH. So right now, they're the people that are on CoinFlex, right, that have both. That is the minority in reality. Most people use Coinbase, Binance, a million other fucking giant exchanges that have regular BCH. So the actual proxies back in the bridges are so critical. And so those are all transfers. So every time someone's coming in and out of Smart BCH to either invest into Smart BCH or get out and sell their coins at an exchange, that's all large volume that's going to be moving around a lot and multiple hops. So say that you have like 100 grand, right? You're going to take 100 grand and then you're going to send it over hop.cash to your exchange. That's like an extra, transfer that you're doing. You're not just moving in Smart BCH, you're moving in Smart BCH and moving over on the other chain.
Got it.
One thing
but I do think that volume is very organic because I know a lot of people that use BCH for just regular payments. And a lot of times the way the UTXO model works, you say that someone has a large UTXO, they're going to send themselves back a lot of change. Sometimes change amounts aren't trivial. And it's very hard to tell who the payment was to and who the change recipient was in some transaction sets. So UTXO chains as a whole, including Bitcoin, are generally overestimated because change is hard to calculate correctly as to what was actually moved to another person versus what was moved back to yourself.
As I remember, it was interesting. They took away BCH's trading volume CoinFlex the way it was ranking for a short time. Now it's back because a lot of it was suspected as wash trading. But obviously, I think a lot of people know that in the BCH network, we actually like to use our currency as much as possible.
Exactly. It was actually funny. Yesterday, someone asked me, they were like, hey, man, he was trying to get some land on some Ethereum project. And he was like, yo, dude, I need crypto quick. I was like, man, I don't really want to move any crypto. Cost basis all sucks. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with taxes on it. I'm like, it was annoying. The only one that actually made sense to send because of price point and cost basis for me was BCH because I've been spend and replacing. So my cost basis is nothing, which means I can forward him money and not worry about the tax guy because I just got those coins recently. All of that just has worked way better for me with BCH than any of the other coins. And I think that's true for a lot of people.
I think a lot of us have even been seeing profits so early on. Like one thing, just kind of segueing into more into the farming thing, the farming aspect of Smart Bitcoin Cash. I think, Ryan, I know you started farming. I know Dino and Hayden have been in it for quite some time. But for some of the people who are listening, I don't know if a lot of you are just have some sort of level of resistance because of, there not being a centralized bridge. But if any of you guys want to talk about, like, how your, yields are doing, what, tokens you're investing into, what pools you're in, or if you're staking any NFTs, I just want to, kind of let the crowd know that there's some people here, like, Ryan runs a channel, Hayden runs a channel, we're, people who, like, I think each of them have about 3,000 subscribers. Dino just started a channel, pushing his way up to 1,000, hopefully soon. But, this is some of the Bitcoin Cash community, like, guys on YouTube, some of the, the ones that, with the most subscribers talking about Bitcoin Cash frequently. So I'd like you guys to hear, like, how, we're utilizing it and, some of the benefits that we're having. Like, for example, I've been consistently making over, roughly $200 a day just farming off of Daiquiri and MistSwap, and collectively, actually, with Block NG, I'm probably making closer to like $220 a day USD. But convert that, like, I'm making, we're at least, like, I can confidently say that I'm making profits every single day, and I wanted to have some other guys kind of touch up on that as well.
I want to hear from Dino. Yeah,
absolutely. Nick, my Smart BCH are so great, and oh man, like, if at the beginning I started with only 10 BCH, right? 10 BCH is what I came in with because I live in New York, so I couldn't move my money over through the CoinFlex bridge. I had to trust Kane. I had to be like, listen, the random guy from Europe, I will send you 10 BCH and then just send it to me on Smart BCH, okay? And then, he gave me Smart BCH. And then that's how my journey started. And he says he was really nice, and he was like really into, like, community, right? He was like, all right, at the end of the year, I want to see you at 1,000 BCH. And, I was kind of laughing, like, oh yeah, 1,000. That's like, obviously I can't get 1,000. Like, maybe I can get like 20, maybe. And within 3 months, I really did reach 1,000. From 10 BCH to 1,000, over 1,000. And that was only possible with Smart BCH because there was just so much opportunity, right? Like, the first exchange, BandSwap, that was like the only project that you can go in. That got me like my first, 200 BCH. And then from there was all these cool NFT projects. People were like, well, how can you get from like 10 to 1,000 by just farming? Well, when these new dexes come out, right, the APRs are really high at the beginning, right? So even if you just farm for like a week at these 40,000% APRs, 100,000% APRs, you actually make a significant amount of money, so long as, like, you go into trusted projects. So I was in Tropical, for instance, right? The APRs were like 40,000% for that first week. And I had to make a video that week because I was looking at the earnings I was producing, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing because it was getting like $12,000 per day. I had like an $80,000 pay week for that first week of high APRs, and that sounded like unbelievable. That sounded like that's not a thing that's possible, but it was possible on Smart BCH, right? Because you can take advantage of these new high APR farms and all these new decks that appear, and how early we are right now. It's just, there's so much opportunity. These NFTs, right? I never thought NFTs would lead me anywhere. Like, how can a pixel art get me any sort of, revenue, and how can it produce passive income through staking? I had no idea, like, you can do all of this on Smart BCH. And then I found Lav Punks, and then, I found these tropical NFTs and all these other cool projects. And not only do the NFTs go up in value significantly as more people join the network, but the staking rewards are actually pretty significant. You're getting over 100% APY from staking your punks and stuff. And the rebase farms, right? The beam farms on Block NG, and all these things combined, you can see how 1,000 BCH is definitely possible from 10. Like, there's just so much opportunity. And I'm just urging people, like, listen, you should check out DeFi, see what DeFi has to offer you, see what you can offer DeFi. Like, maybe you have some coding skills, you can produce your own projects, you can make your own NFTs, you can do whatever. There's just there's infinite possibilities with DeFi, and that's like the beauty of it, right? Because you're managing your own money, and the control is in the hands of the community. That's what's so beautiful about Smart BCH, and that's what I want to share with everyone. That's why I got the encouragement to start my YouTube channel in the first place. I tell people all the time, like I'd never intended to start a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel that first video was intended for one person, just one person to see it. I wanted to get YouTubers into Smart BCH so they can spread the word. And so I responded to a YouTuber, and I just wanted him to get into Smart BCH so he can make videos. And instead, I ended up the one making videos because, I never expected thousands of people to see the video that was intended for one person. And now I have videos that have 13,000 views or whatever. It just keeps going up. And I never expected that to happen. And I'm glad that it did happen because this is something that people need to know about and something I would love to share to the world and have people enter and see what DeFi is for them.
Yeah, Dino, you kind of came out of nowhere, man. And it just a lot of us were watching Smart BCH, what's it gonna be? And you really took some courage by just sending some money to some guy in Europe before at least we had these other. So there was no other platforms like Hot.cash and all that.
No, nothing. Just CoinFlex, and I was really bummed out by it because I was thinking I passed out on a lot of networks previously as well because I couldn't transfer funds over. I can't use BNB really because I can't use Binance from America, and I can't even use Binance.us because I live in New York. And that's another thing that, I talked to Mark Lamb as well. Even if CoinFlex does release for America, it won't release for New York and Hawaii. New York and Hawaii are its own regions, basically. It's way hard to get things like CoinFlex approved in these two states. So I was really bummed out when I couldn't use CoinFlex, and I was thinking damn, I guess I'm going to miss out on Smart BCH, but I really wanted to get in. And so I started looking around the Telegram groups, and I was lucky enough to find, Kane, and people were really vouching for him. They were saying oh yeah, he's trustworthy. And so I decided to give him, 10 BCH. I didn't know that was actually the most amount of BCH he had transferred so far. People were only sending him $100, and I went ahead and sent him 10 BCH, which was I think $6,000 at the time. So yeah, I mean, he could have ran away with it if he wanted to, but no, he's a really
good dude. He is a good dude. Kane's not trying to rob anybody. He is outlandish. He speaks a lot, but he is a good dude.
Exactly, he is a good dude. But I didn't know at the time. I was just reading around. He seemed like a good dude, so I kind of went with it. I was like, all right, I guess I can put my trust in this guy. And then I'm really glad I did because after that, I finally got to indulge in the world of DeFi because I couldn't do it before, right? I was trying with Ethereum and the fees were so high. I thought the fees were high when they were at $25. I bought a project on Ethereum a while ago, maybe 5 months ago, and I still hold on to those tokens. And then recently, last week, I went to go move those tokens because I saw that there was they also launched on BNB or something, on Binance on their chain. And when I tried to move the coins, I saw that the fees were no longer $25. They were $150. And I was like, what happened those last 3 months? Those fees are enormous now. I thought $20 was a lot before.
So, Dino, would you say you weren't a Bcasher before this? Or you were just interested in DeFi?
Okay, so I came from Polygon. I was in Matic. So I used to just trade on Binance. I used to just be a just regular, trader. I was on Binance. I was looking for projects that I thought were interesting, and I eventually I can't use Binance anymore because they found that my account is American. They started cracking down on those accounts, so I couldn't use it anymore. But I started with Matic because I wanted to get into the world of DeFi, and I saw that Matic would bring down those costs. So I got into Matic when it was less than a penny. I bought 3.6 million Matic at a penny, and not even a month later, it went to $1, and I had I had a whole bunch of Matic just sitting there. I was like, wow, this is insane. But then I found out about Smart BCH, and I preferred that over the Matic system because, Matic, you can't even spend it. You have to still convert it into some other currency like Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash, you can use it, especially in New York, you can use it outside. You can spend it on just now, I ordered some Uber Eats, and that can be paid with using Bitcoin Cash. You just use BitPay. And with Matic, it's completely different. You're just using it simply for the DeFi chain. It's just not the same. I'd rather have like one coin that does it all. And I think that's what I have with Bitcoin Cash.
I think the future of Bitcoin Cash is people like you, that are fascinated by other things, and they come into the network and like, wow, I can use it in real life too, and it's just more convenient. I mean, that's how I think the future network effect will grow. What do you think, Dino?
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think that people just have to be aware of it, right? So like Bitcoin Cash, it was really, it's not like an easy product to find. Really, like people don't talk about it all that much, and people also didn't talk about Matic all that much when I was, and that's, I kind of like that, because I liked these products that people don't know about. You can get there first, but I also love that it was actually like a really good project, something that it is better than these other ones that are around, and people are just not using it. So that, to me, that sounds, I couldn't understand that. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to use this network. And something that I find useful, right? I always stress that you should always look for utility over anything else, because you don't have to look for popularity, right? Like Cardano's popular, Solana is popular, but like you have to find something that's useful for you, right? If you think something is useful, others will also find it useful. And then when you start talking about it, you end up getting this chain reaction where people are like, hey, you know what? This actually is good. This is useful. I do think that this could be useful in my life. And they'll also, join in, because it's really easy to sell something that actually like is sellable. It's like, it's easy to sell a diamond if you actually have one. If you don't have it, it's hard to sell it.
It was funny. I was at a party, actually my daughter's party yesterday, and a friend was there talking crypto. And he's like, he's talking about Cardano. He's like, if Charles Hoskinson was the CEO, he'd be fired by now. I feel like they still have they done anything DeFi platform? Or he just wrote in papers over the years? Or anyway, I don't want to go down that wormhole really, but I just thought that was funny.
I think they're still waiting on Sunday Swap. I'm not even sure what the process with that is at this point.
Dino, you should take a quick look in your Telegram. I sent you a photo.
Well, whatever the Cardano guys have done, it's certainly reflected well in their price. I remember speaking to some guy a bit over a year ago, this older dude at the gym, and he was like, oh yeah, you investing in crypto? I was like, yeah, man. And I was telling him that basically, I'm only interested in Bitcoin Cash and I don't focus on anything else. And he started trying to shill me on Cardano, and he's like, oh, Charles Hodgkinson's so genius and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, kind of brushed him off. And then 6 months later or something, the price of that totally exploded, like many magnitudes higher than it was previously. And I saw that guy again. I was like, oh, shit. I should have... well, this is kind of embarrassing, I thought, because I totally disregarded his recommendation. But still, beyond like hype and this cult following of the guy that runs it, I'm not really sure what it can offer. Like, I'm only interested in using Bitcoin Cash to replace the legacy banking system, for example, and now we have all this other DeFi functionality as well, which is really good. But yeah, I don't know what the main attraction with Cardano is, apart from cult following of the dude who runs it.
Yeah, I think it really is a lot of cult following. I think it's the fact that he was close to Vitalik too. I think that's one thing. But in terms of utility, like great point that Dino brought up is like, ultimately once we have the decentralized bridge, I think that's going to be the best, because then you can just freewillingly convert your smart Bitcoin Cash and then just spend it freely to whatever merchant accepts it. But the fact that you don't have to go an extra length to convert it to another coin that's accepted somewhere else, the fact that Bitcoin Cash is already accepted in so many places and it's only getting adopted more and more, I think it just creates such a level of ease for everything. And it's just like, why wouldn't you invest in an asset like that just, ultimately replaces, money as we know it, but like you can, create a lot more profits for yourself, send them back, and then just use that money free willingly too. I think it's amazing.
So any predictions what happens leading up to or with Shawgate? Does the capital just start flowing in, if everything looks promising with the upgrade?
I'm staying strong to my guns and saying like a 5x conservatively, and then on the bull case a 10x. But we know Jeremy had a little bit of a higher expectation from the podcast.
Yeah. I think it just depends on where the overall market stands. Like, if we're bullish or bearish, what does that mean what does DeFi look like in a bear market? And, what happens with all these projects? A lot of them, like the last crypto run, all these projects fell by 90%. What happens to these DeFi networks?
Now, I believe you'll see a lot of new big players come into the space when the Shawgate bridge comes in. Like right now, you just have, you have me, Vlad, Hayden, but there are bigger players in BCH who have yet to enter the space, and they're coming, right? They're waiting for this Shawgate bridge, and I think you'll end up seeing a giant influx of capital come in, come May, and I'm super looking forward to that. And it's not even just that more people are coming. There's a lot of new projects also, right? We still have the Kim.com thing, right? He's still working on something. I know that there's a lot of other developers I've been talking to. I've been asking them like, hey, like what projects are you working on that's coming up? And they said that, they can't tell me right now. They can't tell me, but there's a lot of cool new projects that people are working on for the Bitcoin Cash and Smart BCH. And it's not even just Smart BCH. Like people are working on Bitcoin Cash in general. And I can't wait. May is going to be a huge month for Smart BCH. I think I do believe that's going to be like 10x or maybe it can go higher. It can be really explosive. And I think that the marketing will also take off come May. I'm sure a lot more people are going to be making videos about this, and a lot more. It's going to be a lot more people are going to hear about Smart BCH, and it's going to be covered a lot more. And I think it's going to be massive.
Any other planned network upgrades at that time? Increase the block, or I know that this only happens every so often.
So right now we're doing a integer increase to allow for 64-bit numerics. That's really important for smart contracts, and we're allowing for allows a introspection operation. So it's just 2 upgrades, but they're actually really useful upgrades. And they allow for the Shawgate to be developed and more complex scripts to be easier to write and more less error prone moving forward.
Scoop up some BCH now.
I think the good part too is like if you're in it early, like not only are you getting the benefits of like the yield, but the tokens that you're, putting into the liquidity pools, they're also going to be, gaining value as well. So it's such a win-win situation. And then just in general, Bitcoin Cash is going to keep going up and up. And, if we do see a 10x, like, the profits that you're going to make, that's not the only reason why we're all in Bitcoin Cash. I think a lot of us are here for like a community-driven reason too. At least that's the way I feel about Bitcoin Cash. I know a bunch of us here too have similar mindsets, but there's the room for profit too. You could be you could have the community mindset, but why not make some profits along the way too? And I think this is just such a great way to do it. And there's so many different doors that you can, enter and make different forms of passive income with Smart Bitcoin Cash. I think just, the sky's the limit.
Well, guys, I'm actually going to jump on Tropical Finance right now. I've only been on Mist, and I've been trying to get over here. So what else do you recommend besides, again, repeating, we have Mist, Tropical, Tango, and then what was the other one you guys were recommending?
Block NG. But even Tropical is kind of coming down to as people are coming into the network. So like when I came in, I was farming at 2,000%. At the Daiquiri Flex pool, now it's about 322%. So it's going to come close to like Mist levels pretty soon, I would say. But Block NG, the rebases are doing very well. I see how their farms are doing. Their farms are pretty average. There's one that's at 485%, but you burn 10% stake when you harvest. But I would say look into Block. Look at the rebase in Block is definitely good. I think Tropical is definitely still some of the higher APRs right now. Tango doesn't. I think Tango's credible. I just don't think it gets as much talk as like MissSwap though. I think MissSwap's probably, at least in my opinion, I use MissSwap over Tango. But and then I think there's one more. I think there's one BCH or something like that. It's another one I haven't really looked into that much though.
There's one BCH, there's Wesley Swap, there's Ben Swap, MissSwap, Tropical. But I mean, the highest APRs that you'll find right now are on Tropical, and you'll see also Block NG has really good APRs. So I love Block NG. I love using the rebase tab, and even their Beam tab. You can farm LATP and LAW together for like 480%, which is pretty big. Like, yeah, there is a 10% burn, but you recover with 480% APR, you recover that in about 8 days. And after that, it's just, you're earning at 480% APR.
That's an insane APR.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand like that number really. Like 480% is 4.8 times your money at the end of the year. You put 100,000, you're making $480,000 a year. That's kind of insane.
People wait 40 years in the stock market buying the S&P 500 for that.
Exactly. These APRs are just insane. They're just bribing people to use the new service. So you just go to the place and it's all high risk, but the rewards are big.
Should we open the floor up to some Q&A? Is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up and talk about?
No, really. I just appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to learn more and be a part of the Smart BCH network. I've been a part of Bitcoin Cash on YouTube now for about a year, and I've been there as long as Josh. Remember the split and all that. It's just really exciting to see the ecosystem grow in different ways.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're jumping on to Smart Bitcoin Cash. I think we need as many people talking about it as we can get. So it's good to have another player on board. But guys, so anyone who's been listening, if you guys have any questions, just throw up a little notification and I'll let you speak. Thanks for everyone coming in and listening. Looks like we've had almost 30 people at one point. There's 18 now. But yeah, if there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Something that gets brought up a lot is, a lot of people message me because they see the videos and they get into Smart BCH. And a lot of them, they end up realizing, they end up telling me like, hey, this isn't as scary as I thought it was before I got in. Like they thought it would be like this really, really incredibly risky, like where they're going to be losing like all their funds all the time due to like, I don't know, maybe like the bridge malfunction and stuff like that.
Hey guys, just wanted to say hi.
Hey Joey, wait, let's. I think Dino was in the middle of saying something, but then we got Max after, and then we got Joey. We can all chime in.
Yeah, Joe, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thanks, man. I'll have a think.
Are you the same Joey from Block NG?
Yeah, man, that's me.
Who has all the punks?
Yeah.
This guy Joey accidentally bought. You keep saying you accidentally bought 900 punks at the very start.
Well, technically it was. I mean, sometimes I run my meta off a really shitty computer, like the laptop. So I got my good computer and I got a shitty laptop that I do most of my trading on, just because I can take it wherever I want. And the transaction kept failing even though I kept pressing accept. And it wasn't showing up that it was going through, but it was actually going through. So I kept minting 100. And I think I did it accidentally eight times it went through. So I was only looking to get about 100 or so. And I ended up with 909.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
And this man literally has over if we're selling every single one of these punks at the floor price, this man has over 450 BCH worth of punks by by clicking buttons by accident?
I mean, sometimes accidents lead to I don't know the right phrase for it, but it looks like accidents turn into, you know, some good fortunes, I guess, right? That's awesome. That's a crazy story.
And they're the first punks I've ever bought too. Well, the first NFTs, actually.
Good for you, man. I just tossed you a follow, Joey. But Max, did you have something to say too? I noticed you chimed in.
Yeah, hey guys, enjoying the chat. I've got a couple questions actually. The first of which is for us that are new to Smart BCH and are like just putting in, you know, a couple dollars here and there to different projects to see how they work. You know, how are you verifying, you know, their trustworthiness, right? Because there's a couple of speculations about, you know, reading on the Reddits, reading in Discords and stuff like that, that some of them, you know, haven't released, I don't know, I'm not familiar with it, like their back end or, you know, all their details. So, you know, if you're looking, you know, 20 places down on the market cap, looking for new projects to put, you know, your farms into, your pools into, you know, how you know which ones are rugs or not? I know that's a difficult question, but obviously you guys have taken those risks.
So that's really cool on Smart BCH, where our community is so like pretty tight knit and small still, where every time a new project is released on Smart BCH, our community is actually kind of it's a little hostile towards new projects. They want to make sure that they're really safe and that they're not rug pulls. So every time you see a new project, you'll end up seeing a lot of people go in and ask a ton of questions. And usually the products that are listed on marketcap.cash are usually people from the Smart BCH, from the BCH community who we've known for a while. Usually those are the products that end up getting the most people investing in them. And these new projects, you know, we are really harsh on them. Like when we make them go through BCH pad, that's why when we first launched Smart BCH, there was a couple of rug pulls. We had Monkey Cash and we had Beach Swap being the most notable. And the problem with these is that people kind of didn't expect any rug pulls. They didn't know that was even a possibility. So they kind of went into these projects not knowing that there was a possibility they can lose everything. And after that, we kind of cracked down on them even more. So we launched, you know, BPAD, and now products that launched through BCH pad are so far there haven't been any rug pulls on those, because BCH pad goes through the private docs. So they get your ID, they get your address, they know exactly where you live, who you are, and this offers a little bit more safety. And then we have, you know, people in the space like Jay, for instance, who looks over the contracts to try to see if they're secure. And usually over time, you know, we kind of, as a community, it's basically it's decentralized finance. So we all have to kind of do our part and just really crack down on these new projects and check for ourselves through, you know, reading the contracts, stuff like that, which products are good, which ones are bad. And yeah, Vlad, you guys want to say?
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up BPAD. So the website's not really working to its full functionality right now for some reason, but there is, like, when they're launching new projects on BPAD as well, they're supposed to lock like a certain amount of liquidity that they can't like touch either too. I can't see, like, I wish I could pull up the exact text. Do you know the exact specifics to that offhand, Dano?
I forget the exact numbers offhand, but I do know they are forced to lock liquidity.
I can't find it right now, because that when I was doing initial research on Smart Bitcoin Cash, that was one thing that attracted me a lot. I was like, okay, that's a pretty big number. So like you'd have to, you know, be pretty confident in your project that you can't really do a rug. And BCH Pad was kind of made to kind of deter rugs anyway. That was kind of like the main reason behind it. So that, Max, is one thing that definitely, you know, can give you a little bit of ease of mind. But one thing you'll also notice is that like a lot of these DEXs are getting audited multiple times. And these are some expensive audits that these projects go through. So, you know, some will do 1, 2, 3 different audits. And, you know, that goes to show that, you know, these people are pretty serious about their projects. And to be so early into Bitcoin Cash too, you got to think that like these people are also looking long term, and they want to, you know, it's better for them too, like to not rug, because the profits for them, you know, ultimately in the end is they stand to benefit so much more to actually launch a legitimate project than to pull a rug so early in this game.
Completely understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. I do have a couple other questions, but I can let some other people go first.
So before the next question, I just want to announce that Clementine's Nightmare I mentioned before, they just shared a Discord link. I doubt that's going to stay open for very long. So if people are interested in that, you should go, and it's on my Twitter.
I'm over there right now looking. But Morton, did you have something to add too?
No, next question. I'm here to answer some questions. I think you answered it well.
Oh, I was saying Morton Proenza, I think. It seemed like you wanted to say something, but I don't think you're on the speaker tab anymore. If you're still with us, let me know.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from Morton if he has some questions. You know, he also has a YouTube channel, but he does it in Spanish.
Oh, really? I'm gonna check it out right now. What's the channel?
I'll link it to you. I gotta look it up.
Okay. Meanwhile, Bert has something to add. Bert.
Hey guys, just want to say thanks for having the chat tonight. It was good kind of catching up and seeing what everyone's thinking in terms of the space and what's going on. And I just want to touch base in terms of like the risk management and the idea of a rug pull. Like how I saw it is, there's a chance that, there may be a level of risk with one of these projects, going for rug pull. But there's multiple good dexes, and what I've been doing is kind of distributing the funds I put into Smart BCH across these various dexes, just so you kind of mitigate that risk, and then averaging the APR on each of those dexes to kind of get like an understanding of like what I'm bringing in total from each project. And I feel that that's a confident way that I know that I'm protecting myself a little bit on each dex, as well as kind of getting the advantage of each of the tokens that are kind of gaining value from price and increase, as well as that APR. So yeah, and it's kind of an interesting kind of tracking this all manually, because there's not a lot of automated ways to do this yet, and it's been kind of cool, like keeping tabs on the portfolio each day and seeing what you're bringing in. And yeah, a lot of the numbers are impressive, so it's good to be here kind of early.
Yeah, I think it's smart what you're doing. I think it's a safe bet. Distributing it, and if one thing fails, then at least you got another 3 options. But ultimately, everything's a little bit of a risk. So, and any money you put into newer platforms is ultimately should be money that you're confident that it's either going to stay or that you're willing to lose. So I think you definitely have a good approach going with what you're doing.
Touching on the rug pull thing again, like usually these new products, you have to give them a little bit of time to make sure that they are safe, because new projects are obviously the most highest risk. I believe a new dex even came out today actually, but I haven't been telling anybody about it because there still is a high chance that it's not safe. I think it's like Doge something. It's a new dex, and it's like these new products are the ones that you have to watch out for. And it takes time for people to, look into the contracts and see if they are safe, and look into the team members and see if they're serious about it. And until they have given you enough confidence to the community that they are there for a long term, then you should just stick with the products that are well known and that people are really trusting. And those are the least likely, obviously, to rug pull you. And I think most of them can't even miss, even if they wanted to, right? Stuff like that. You would know 2 days in advance, so someone would catch it if they were trying to rug, and you would have 2 days to withdraw all your money, because there's time locks and stuff. So all these cool factors, they give the investors confidence in investing in their projects. And for these newer products, you have to make sure that these safeguards are in place so that you feel confident putting your money into these new projects.
And if you play safe, right, and you just use the higher market cap stuff inside of Smart BCH that has a good reputation, some of those APRs are still 60, 80%. I mean, if you're not greedy and you just want really nice returns, you can do that too.
Like Celery guarantees 100% rate of return as an annuity.
Hey guys, I just wanted to ask about something, if that's all right.
course.
So who's actually behind Shawgate?
I think Josh might have the better answer for that.
Yeah, that's just the Smart BCH team. That's
Yeah, so Shawgate's been worked on by a lot of the developers on like research.cash. A lot of them are BCHN developers that were just making sure that the pieces needed on the BCH network were ready, aka the network upgrade in May. And then the other side has been worked on by those developers also with Wang Kui and the Smart BCH team. And they're working, and they have a working prototype already. Like it already works. We're just waiting for these changes to happen from what I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. It is already ready. Kui Wang, right? He's the one who, I believe him and his team, they finished the update like a while ago, but they said they couldn't run it because, they are waiting for the new, the Bitcoin Cash update, and that's the only way it'll work. The decentralized bridge will work. So the update's already ready. It's been ready for a while. We just have to wait for the Bitcoin Cash upgrade.
Yeah, I'm bullish. I'm bullish for this Shawgate. I need a bridge.
We all want that bridge.
Yeah, I think it's definitely.
I wake up thinking about it.
The way I envision it is like a dam, and it's like all the water is just like pushing and pushing and pushing and slowly cracking. And once Shawgate's just open, I feel like all the water is going to come flooding, and that's the new investors, that's the retailers, that's the big whales. I think it's just gonna, where we're talking about a 5-10x. I think it's completely in the line of sight.
I think 5-10x on everything would be standard once it's released. I just I'd love to see the chain just increase drastically through the use of the bridge. I'd love to see more adoption, and obviously, just a better protocol on Smart BCH is the main reason why I'm here.
I'm happy to have everyone on board with Smart BCH. Seems like we have a good little crowd tonight, and thanks for everyone who's listening. Appreciate everyone's time. I hope you guys, got good knowledge out of this. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us at any time. We're always happy to help. I'm going to be trying to be hosting these, more frequently. I'm shooting for once a week. Obviously, with the holidays, it was a little tough, but just to keep reiterating everything and keeping you guys in the loop with new updates. I think it's really important that we continue to do these Twitter Spaces. And this time I did record it, so you'll be able to look back on it. I'll see if I can pull the audio and just post it separately on YouTube as well. But it's a big community effort, and as long as we keep doing things like this, we're slowly making a change. So I'm really excited. I'm super excited. And Josh, thanks for coming on. Ryan, I'm super happy that you're getting to Smart BCH. Thanks for coming in tonight. Dino, as always, thanks. You guys are, we're all going to do our part.
Are there any Discords or Telegram channels that you guys can give to us now that can continue these conversations through the week for us that are new?
There's a lot of Discord, or rather more so Telegrams with Smart BCH. Like if you go through any of the platforms, like on their Twitters, you'll notice like Mist, Daiquiri, Tropical, Block NG, Celery, almost all the bigger projects have their own Telegrams, and they're really active communities. I mean, you got the developers, you got their marketing teams, like pretty much any questions you may have, they're answering them quickly. They do AMAs. I know Tropical, especially, like me and Dan are always in the AMAs there because they're constantly keeping their crowds updated. So you can get a lot of, information that way. And it's, I believe like Tropical will host like 24-hour AMAs like very frequently. So that's a good way to do it. Discords, I believe they actually just threw out a Discord, but they're, some of the projects, I think like MistSwap has a Discord, and you can find that all. It's like, you can find all that just through Twitter. But if you want to shoot me like a DM too, like I can send you over some as well. And it's a great way to stay informed.
So I think for the Telegrams, you can check out the Smart BCH Telegram, but the conversations there are very, very broad. So if you have something specific, like I love the Block NG Telegram. I kind of use that as like, as as like a general chat, because I can talk to like the majority of people who are not only just in BlockNG, but like just smart BCH enthusiasts in general. And yeah, so I think going to like these just go into products that you like and join their telegrams, and I think having conversations in those like concentrated specific telegrams are even better than the Smart BCH telegram. But you can go into Smart BCH telegram as well and continue conversations with everybody and talk about the broad Smart BCH ecosystem. It's pretty good.
This is just the beginning. I plan on bringing a lot of people into Smart BCH, but not just for profits, but to like actually create stuff and have fun in our markets on the artistic side. So yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome adventure. I can't wait to see what happens after Shawgate. This is going to be an interesting ride, and I think it's a great time to be getting into Smart BCH. It's just the beginning.
Any final questions before we close this out for the night? Alrighty, well, thanks for everyone coming in. Josh, Ryan, Dano, thanks again, for speaking. Keep an eye out for updates. I'm going to be just tweeting out when we're going to do the next space, and we're definitely going to try and make this more of a frequent thing. But thanks again for everyone tuning in, and I'm going to close this thing out.
Thanks for putting it together, Vlad. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.